My name is William, and I'm 37 years old. I never thought I would be the kind of man to have his life defined by a single, catastrophic moment, but here I am. Not long ago, I was certain my life was a perfect picture. A masterpiece my wife, Lisa, and I had been painting together for almost 11 years. We lived a serene life in Portland, Oregon, in a cozy little home with a white picket fence, the kind you see in movies. It had been the backdrop for every precious memory, 2 wonderful children, countless holidays, and a relationship that, to me, seemed as sturdy as a rock. We had what I believed was an unshakable foundation of love, loyalty, and shared dreams. But all of it was a facade, and the truth came crashing down one evening during a quiet dinner. She was strangely composed, almost detached as she spoke. We had just finished a meal, the remnants of our dinner plates a stark contrast to the emotional bomb she was about to drop. Her words were steady, without a hint of wavering. She confessed to being unfaithful since the very first year of our marriage. I just stared at her, waiting for the punchline, a sign that this was a morbid joke or a cruel test. I searched her face for a flicker of a smile or a sarcastic glint in her eyes, but found nothing. The expression on her face was a mask of cold indifference. Her voice was flat when she calmly stated she had never truly felt like I was the one for her, and had been involved with other men, more than just one throughout our entire relationship. I was completely stunned. My body went cold, as if all the blood had drained from my veins. My mind reeled. That night, sleep was an impossibility. I lay awake, a prisoner in my own bed, haunted by every memory we had ever built. I pictured our wedding day, the vows we exchanged, the happy honeymoon in Miami, every celebratory trip, every family photo with our forced smiles, every shared birthday cake. Had they all been part of some elaborate decade-long lie? The betrayal felt physical, a sharp, searing pain in my chest. I couldn't stop my mind from replaying moments, searching for clues I had missed, a hint of deceit in her eyes or a slight change in her tone. The next morning, I looked at our children, my world, and a horrifying thought began to take root. What if they weren't mine? The question was a poison that started to seep into my soul. I had never, for a second, questioned it before. I saw my features in their faces. I saw our family's future in their smiles. But now, doubt gnawed at me relentlessly. I knew I had to find the truth, no matter how painful it was. Quietly, without saying a word to her, I arranged for a DNA test. I went to a clinic in St. Louis on my lunch break, my hands trembling as I filled out the paperwork. One submitted my own sample along with samples I had taken from the children, and then began the excruciating week-long wait. For 7 endless days I went through the motions at home. I would kiss her goodbye in the morning, pretend to listen to her stories in the evening, and play with our children as if my world wasn't on the verge of collapse. Inside, though, I was unraveling, consumed by a brutal mix of dread, furious anger, and deep sorrow. I felt like an actor in a play I hadn't rehearsed for, and every performance was a painful charade. When the results finally arrived, an email notification popped up on my phone, and my hand shook so violently I almost dropped it. The truth hit me harder than any physical blow I could have ever imagined. The cold, sterile words on the screen confirmed my worst fears. My daughter was mine, a small comfort in a sea of agony. But my son, our firstborn, the child I had held in my arms the moment he entered the world, was not. I sat there, frozen in my office chair, staring at the screen, the words burning into my eyes. For a moment, I felt nothing. Just a profound silence, an emptiness that swallowed everything. Everything I had built my life around was a carefully hidden betrayal. She hadn't just broken our vows. She had stolen something irreplaceable from me, the right to know the truth about my own son. I didn't confront her right away. There was no shouting, no emotional outburst. I wanted to handle this differently, on my terms, in a way she would never forget. For the next few days, I quietly made my plans. I called both of our families and told them. I was organizing a small dinner at a restaurant in Chicago, Illinois. I hinted at a big, exciting announcement. I even invited a few close friends, those who had seen us as the perfect couple for years. Everyone enthusiastically agreed to come, excited to celebrate whatever I was hinting at. On the night of the dinner, everything was perfectly set. There was delicious food, clinking glasses, and the comfortable hum of laughter. She seemed radiant, completely unaware of the public spectacle that was about to unfold. I stood up and gently tapped my wine glass for attention, and the room fell silent. I started by thanking everyone for being there, for being a part of our lives. Then I turned to her, my voice clear and steady. Remember that little confession you made the other night about cheating since the day we got married? Her smile vanished instantly. A heavy, suffocating tension filled the air. I placed a thick manila envelope on the table and slid it toward her. These are the DNA results, I said, my voice cutting through the silence. It turns out only one of our children is actually mine. A collective wave of gasps swept through the room. The faces of our friends and family were a mix of shock and disbelief. Her face went deathly pale, and she tried to speak, but I held up my hand, stopping her. No, I said firmly. This is your truth. You chose it. So now everyone gets to see it too. Her parents looked like the ground had been pulled out from under them. Even my own family sat there, speechless, their faces a portrait of sorrow and anger. Our son, too young to understand the gravity of the moment, looked up at us with a confused expression. Then I delivered the final blow. I've already contacted a lawyer. The papers are being prepared. You can keep the house. I only want shared custody of my daughter in peace. She broke down. Tears, desperate apologies, and pleas to speak privately poured out of her. She begged me to reconsider, claimed she still loved me, and asked for forgiveness. But I had nothing left to give. Her choices had not only burned the bridge between us, but had incinerated it completely. The next day, I packed my things and left for an apartment in a different part of the city. News of what had happened spread quickly, a wildfire of gossip and shock. Friends and family reached out, some utterly stunned, some offering their support. Her carefully constructed image began to crumble, a fitting reflection of the life she had built on a foundation of lies. But I hadn't done this to destroy her reputation. I did it because I needed closure, clarity, and to reclaim my dignity. I had to let everyone know the truth, not just for myself, but for the life she had forced me to live. In time, I rebuilt my life, a new life from the wreckage of the old one. I stayed deeply involved in my daughter's life, and despite everything, I made a conscious choice to remain a present father for my son. He still saw me as his dad, and I couldn't bring myself to take that away from him. She tried many times to fix what she had broken, to rebuild a relationship that was beyond repair. But I never looked back. Her choices were hers to live with, and I had finally made mine. While the truth had left deep scars, it also freed me from a cage I never knew I was in. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge doesn't come with rage and shouting. It comes with quiet finality.